Just a reminder before today's programme that the previous instalment of AMTV Radio is available to listen to, with our special guest and friend of the show, The Book of Laura. And now, it's time for the latest episode of the AMTV Radio podcast, with our special guest, Ace Creeper. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of AMTV Radio. This is the podcast where I'm joined by a very special guest each time, and we talk about, well, whatever we like, really. And this time, my special guest is the wonderful Ace Creeper. Thank you very much for coming on, man.
Thank you so much for having me. Hello.
Hello to everyone out there listening. And first of all, I've been asking a lot of my guests this because, as I'm sure you're aware, in the year 2020, the world's sort of gone to pot a little bit. If you don't mind me asking, has that affected you in like a huge way, or do you think you've got off quite, relaxed compared to some others, or how has it been for you?
It's a weird one. I mean, it's definitely affected things. As COVID broke out, I was in my first year of uni, so that entire last semester was sort of cut off, so that's a bit weird.
Yeah.
I go to uni in London, and I'm originally from Newcastle, so I get it just cut off basically from everyone almost straight away.
Yeah.
So that was very sudden and out of place and a bit strange, especially when trying to find housing for second year. But everything's sorted now.
Of course.
And everything's starting to get back to normal a little bit in terms of uni life. I know there's still problems going around and you still need to be careful and all that sort of thing. But generally, it's definitely been it's had some strange effects, but getting back on track a little bit now, and it's getting somewhat better.
Yeah, slight improvements, but I guess the key thing at the end of the day is, you've been safe, you've been healthy. At the end of the day, that's all any of us can ask for. But oh man, especially your first year of uni, that's hard, man.
Rough.
That's
gutting. It is rough, yeah.
Like, you've got the real world waiting for you next. Let me tell you, no, honestly, like, I'm sure you already are, but just having done it myself, like, just enjoy it. Do you know what I mean? Like, take every opportunity. Go to all those parties, even if you've got like a 9 a.m. lecture. Just do it.
I think the side I look on is that, like, yeah, it's a bit naff, but I'd rather have been like in that year than the year starting now, because their entire like freshers and everything. That's where we made like most of our friends and stuff, and you meet people and that experience is not going to be the same for people starting this year, and I feel really bad for them.
No, of course. Was there any crazy freshers initiations?
Not particularly, because our campus is, because I'm studying a media course, our campus is a lot of like arts and very sort of, so a lot of people are quite reserved and awkward, really. I mean, well, until you get a drink in them, but
of course,
not many like wild things, but just sort of your standards, going to the pub, having a drink, trying to reference
fair.
TV shows and seeing who picks up, and
of course, yeah.
But
do you like Doctor Who? Being the obvious question.
Just a bit, yeah.
Just
a little bit, yeah.
No, at my uni, I shaved my head. That was fun. Yeah.
Just what?
Well,
consensually.
I went to a drama school in Liverpool called Lipper, and at the time, it was sort of like the stock initiation that all the first year boys do in the acting course shave their head, and they all, they put a reason behind it, like, it's about stripping back and like not being afraid. Do you know
I bet it ended up looking like a prison though, if everyone's just like,
mate,
shaved.
I'll never forget after we all. It was never forced. I'll make that very clear to anyone thinking, oh my god, he got forced to shave his head. I was not forced. I did it of my own free will. But I always remember the moment when after we'd done it. So there was about 14 of us in my year. And we were all leaving a class going into town, all since we'd done acting, like, we're in like jogging bottoms, like loose t-shirts, all with skinheads, and the looks we got off people, like, you could tell people, like, I don't want to go anywhere near them. But that's uni for you. But so for anyone who might not like know who you are or be aware of your channel, do you just want to give a little summary of like what the kind of work you do on YouTube and what you're about?
So I mean, I've been on YouTube for a while, but I've only sort of grown recently with the Doctor Who community. I've mainly focused now on doing sort of Doctor Who news updates, general sort of reviews, because it's a 57-year-old show now, and there's a lot to talk about, so you can just sort of pick it apart. I try and expand into different things. I'm looking at doing some more Star Wars stuff in the future, trying to expand into that. I'm always a big believer in that YouTube should just be for what you want to do. Like, just,
absolutely.
if you for a second feel like you're being forced to do something, you just feel bored by it, and that's why I sometimes get a bit burnt out with Doctor Who and have to try something else. It's not about the views. It's not about like going, oh, it doesn't matter if this other thing that isn't Doctor Who related doesn't get many views. It's like something I wanted to make, something I want to do, and I kind of like that aspect. But yeah, that's sort of my the vibe of my channel. I'm constantly trying to change things up and all that sort of thing. But, you know, I'm your bog standard sort of reviewer of a TV show. I try and be neutral within the ever-changing environment of the community. Yeah,
I like that. That was a very good, that was a very eloquent way of putting it. But we'll talk more about, say, specific episodes or eras in a moment. But just, I noticed you're a Star Wars fan, so I feel like I have to ask you, the sequel trilogy. Oh, what we feeling? What we feeling with that?
Straight to it then, yeah. I have various opinions on the sequel trilogy, some of which aren't popular, I'm aware, because my favourite's The Last Jedi.
Do you know what? With The Last Jedi, sorry, before you go on, like with that, I remember seeing it in the cinema at the time, and I came out thinking, you know, that wasn't necessarily the best Star Wars film I've ever seen. However, it was probably like the riskiest Star Wars film I'd ever seen, and on that front, I was like, fair play, like not just doing the same thing we'd seen at that point like 7 times over. So yeah, I respect it for that.
Well, because at Christmas I saw the it was the midnight screening, but it was also the triple bill.
Oh man!
so I saw The Force Awakens, 10-minute break, Last Jedi, 10-minute break, Rise of Skywalker at midnight.
Jam.
And it did make me realise that Last Jedi is probably my favourite out of those 3, which isn't saying much because the trilogy as a whole, back to the original question, is definitely the worst.
Sure.
It's not about, because obviously like it's better made, the CGI is great, the dialogue and acting is solid, unlike the prequels, you know. But the comparison I always make is the prequels, for all their like faults, it has the world building.
It does.
Because like Clone Wars exists based off the back of what the prequel set up. If the prequel ideas and the worlds and the ideas and, you know, the Senate and all that sort of stuff, if that wasn't in place with the sort of lackluster films, you wouldn't have been able to do the Clone Wars. That's still all George Lucas's ideas. With the sequel trilogy, I can't imagine how they do a Clone Wars type show, because they visit about 5 worlds, and that's and there's no like expansion in the story. There's no consistency. It just feels really weird, which is why I just sort of have really bad taste towards it. And I'm currently doing a Star Wars marathon, which I'm sort of documenting on my Twitter. I've never seen the animated shows before, and I just finished Clone Wars. I'm just starting Rebels now. I just know that by the time I finish with Rise of Skywalker, I'm just going to be so like depressed, because it's just it's just like all of this, like even the faults of the prequels, it's like at least it continues and it goes through. It's like finishing on the note of Rise of Skywalker is just going to be so depressing.
Rise of Skywalker, like, and I'll get this out the way now because I know there'll be people, as always, as I'm sure you know in YouTube comments, who like jump on you for anything. I do not have a problem with the character of Rey per se, you know, or Daisy Ridley at all. Don't have a problem with it. What I didn't really like was this whole thing of, you know, because they built up Anakin in the 6 films as, you know, like the chosen one, and he had that significance that even when he was Darth Vader, even when you think he's become evil, he still fulfills the prophecy, brings balance to the Force. And then to have that basically be vaguely retconned, and like Palpatine coming back, I know like we have the comics and stuff which, you know, have done alternate reasons why he came back, but I swear in Rise of Skywalker, to explain it, don't they literally say somehow Palpatine has returned?
Palpatine's back. And I think if you wanted to hear the because they'll have this opening crawl, and like I think I counted, it's like 3 minutes until Palpatine's on screen. 3 minutes, and the opening crawl says he has a message, and to listen to the message you had to tune into an exclusive Fortnite event. Not even joking.
Oh Christ, Fortnite event. Jesus.
Oh, do you not know about this? It's incredible.
I didn't know it was a Fortnite event. No.
So the message, Palpatine's message, is exclusive to Fortnite. It was one event that they did.
Oh my God.
So you can find it on YouTube. There's a clip, and it's just Palpatine. It's actually Ian McDiarmid doing the voice. It's like a really cool, chilling message. Could have very easily been like a prequel little like thing. They could have done like a little mini-sode or something and dropped it online like a few months ago. They could have had it in the trailer. They could have had it in the teaser. They could have done anything with it. But no, it's in the title crawl and an exclusive Fortnite event, and that's that. Oh,
that hurts. Like,
oh, trust me, yeah, it does. It physically hurts even talking about it.
Oh God, Fortnite. I mean, I enjoy games and stuff, but like Fortnite, when that whole thing like exploded, like I think I made a choice. I was like, if I jump on this now, Like, I'm going to get suckered into a world, just like when I was 13 with, like, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. It's going to become my life. I'm not going to have a life. So I was like, no, I'm not going to install Fortnite. And I'm glad I didn't, because, like, I hear everything, you know, I mean, I know it's mainly with younger children who don't understand, you know, about, like, gambling and money and stuff, how they, like, raid their parents' bank and spend, like, 20 grand on V-Bucks. And I'm just like, I'm glad microtransactions, like, weren't really a thing when I was, like, a kid in video games, because it makes me worry. I mean, do you still game a bit? Are you a gamer of sorts? Or?
Every now and then, I do enjoy video games. I just don't have much time to play them. When I do, at the moment, I'm playing Modern Warfare quite a bit, because I feel like a lot of people are. I am very partial to. It's nostalgia for me that does it. I think a lot of franchises that I played when I was younger, I go back to. Key ones, Crash Bandicoot for me is a massive one. I love that franchise, and the fact that there's a new game for the first time in like 10 years.
When that dropped, I was like, God. Like, I can't believe it.
I was very, very excited. And the Lego games as well. I'm looking forward to the Lego Star Wars game, obviously. You know, there's a big Star Wars and Lego fan. It's something there. And Watch Dogs Legion I'm looking out for. You know, like there's a few things here and there that I'm sort of keeping an eye on. Like Red Dead's brilliant, obviously. The Spider-Man game was brilliant, but I do have an Xbox, not a PS4, so that's
No, I only bought a PS4 last year because of Spider-Man, and it's weird because, like, when it came out, I was obviously like, yeah, it looks cool, but I wasn't, like, compelled at the time. It was only when my brother brought it home on his PS4, and, you know, he said, oh, have a go with it. After playing it, I was like, oh my God, like, I need this in my life. So on Facebook Marketplace, got a PS4 for £100 and was like, right, I'm playing Spider-Man. But also, I think the biggest gift it's given me is having a Blu-ray player. Because, like, I've snobbed Blu-ray for years and years and years. Like, the Doctor Who collection sets, when they first came out, I was like, nah, don't have a Blu-ray player, don't need it. As soon as I got a PS4, I was like, I can...
So I think that's why I go towards Xbox, though, because the Xbox One S that I've got is 4K.
Oh, is it?
So there's a bit of a benefit because then I can get the fancy steelbooks. That's always fun.
Oh, mate, don't talk to me about steelbooks. I've recently gone down the very slippery slope of the new series steelbooks.
It's a very slippery slope in general. I never liked the idea of steelbooks, and I got bought Doctor Who Series 11 on steelbook for my birthday, and I thought, oh, this is nice. I wonder what else they've got. And now I've got like bloody loads of them, and not just Doctor Who as well. Like I bought the Star Wars ones recently, which were like they're ridiculous. I mean, they released all 9 like Star Wars films on 4K steelbook within like 2 months. I don't know who's got that kind of money, but they're like £35 a piece. I was like, I cannot. It's like I'm a collector. I cannot like. It's either like go bankrupt for the sake of having a nice shelf, or
it's the collecting dilemma, isn't it? Because I started.
It's difficult. Yeah.
I got the Series 6 of Doctor Who steelbook because that's like the new one at the minute, isn't it? At the time of recording, so I was like, okay, I bought that for a modest £30 or whatever. And I got lucky that in different HMVs, they still had like an odd copy of Series 5, an odd copy of Series 4. But my God, like Series 1, 2, and 3, it's just like you look on eBay and stuff and your heart just goes. It's like...
I regretfully, I did get Series 1 for quite an expensive price. And
No, do you know what? That's fair. That is fair. Valid.
I mean, £90 well spent? No, I don't know.
Hey, that's good. From what I've seen, that is good. All I've seen for Series 1 now is triple figures.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, no, I mean, that's the same for Series 9. That's the only one I haven't got. However, I think I'm weirdly sort of mixed on the steelbooks. Like, I'm getting them. I'm happy to get them. They look great. However, like, just picture this. Like, if in a few years' time, when they've done a lot of the collection box sets for Classic Who, let's just imagine the sort of press release, right? Doctor Who, the collection, Series 1 or Season 27, however they market it. Chris Eccleston behind the sofa with Chris Eccleston watching his. I buy it instantly. No. Get rid of the steelbook, eBay, flog it. I'm getting this. And that's my thing. Is like I love collecting the steelbooks. They're great, but if they did collections, they would take the place, and it fits in.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? Because like I think when the collection came out, and I think still a lot of people think this, like they've always kept that distinction between classic and new Who for so long now. I think there's some people who think they'll never cross it over, but I'm with you. Like I think eventually I would not be surprised if they say like, hey, season 27/series 1.
They've put so much effort into these, and like, have you got any of the collection box sets?
Yeah, well, I've managed luckily to get all of them. Although my season
Blimey,
12,
really?
My season 12 was the reprint. Although my discs are season 10 discs because I got a faulty one. However,
same.
But mine, I don't know about yours, but even though it looks like season 10, it's got season 12 on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
you can email BBC DVD support and they send you replacements.
Yeah, I did call them out on Twitter about it, and I debated it, but then a weird part of my brain was like, well, it's more about the collector in us. It's more about like the outside of the box. And I was like, realistically in my head, I was like,
yeah,
can I live with it? So
it annoyed me.
No, that's valid, man.
It annoyed me deeply. So yeah, they did start because the thing is, the box set came out, the season 12 re-release came out, just as like COVID kicked off. So like as those were released and the Amazon like dodgy batch of the discs, the BBC were just like, oh, we're really understaffed at the moment. There's more stuff going on. Like we don't have a concrete answer. I think it was only like recently, about a month ago, they started going, right, okay, we're gonna send out discs and stuff, which is great because now I've got a second copy of season 12 just with the wrong discs. Disc figures. So that's, I mean, it's good. It works. I just like, again though, I think having those collector box sets, the collection ones, if they ever did New Who, it's a must buy, isn't it? Really, I mean, you've got to get.
Oh, absolutely.
Imagine having season 1, of Hartnell all the way to like series 12 or through 13, 14 by then. All in the collection. I mean, that would be in the same box art with all of Lee Binding's phenomenal artwork.
Oh, that's a fan's dream, pretty much, isn't it? I mean, in terms of the collection, I mean, I saw do you know Josh Snares?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Lovely guy. I've had him. Well, by the time this comes out, I've had him on, and he's really lovely, really nice to chat with. But obviously, I've not spoken to him personally, but he's very entertaining. I'm a big fan of his content. Nice, cracking. But we were talking about. Well, he did a video. It was like, oh, how are they going to do like the 60s series where they're missing episodes, like speculating how it's going to be done. And I think like seasons. I think it was season 1 and season 6, so Hartnell's first and Troughton's last. Aren't they like the most likely? Because like realistically, the only thing that needs to be animated or filled in season 1 is Marco Polo, and
I've had various times to think about this. I've got like a little chart.
I like it,
which I'll be able to send you at some point.
Nah, feel free.
The missing episodes. In fact, that's what you're on Skype now. I'll drop it over your way so you can sort of see for context.
Yeah.
It's basically a chart of all the it's sort of like a digital thing I mocked up, basically going, right, which episodes are missing, which are most likely, what's being animated, what's been like remade and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And looking at the seasons with the like least work. This one that I'm sending you now is assuming that the rumor about the Abominable Snowmen and the Evil of the Daleks is correct, by the way.
Yes.
So season 2 would be the easiest because you've got 2 episodes.
Oh, true. Yeah.
The Crusade has 2 episodes missing. You could very, very easily pick that up. Next to that would be season 6 with the Space Pirates.
Everyone's favourite stories.
See, I'm not familiar. I'm very like, my knowledge when it comes to this stuff is especially with missing episodes as well. It's like I am aware of them. I know the whole situation behind them, but I've never watched like the telesnaps or anything like that because I kind of want to wait because I know they're probably going to end up being made now at some point. But I feel like season 5 could be around the corner if they play their cards right. I mean, all I have to do is animate Wheel in Space and then do something with the Web of Fear. Maybe just do that episode and fill in the blank. Yeah. I think genuinely that all of these seasons will be released at some point on the collection box sets.
Yeah.
I don't think... Yeah. That's why I'm holding off from buying the new animations because I'm sort of like... Yeah, like I do want to watch them. And I have the Macro Terror and I really enjoyed that. But like... At the same time, I'm sort of thinking in a few years' time they might release this. And I've got other box sets of Classic Who which I still haven't watched yet. Like I need to get around to them. So it's like I'm sort of thinking, well, when these come out, I think season 2 might be a surprise one. I reckon that one will be, honestly, within the next year, we could see season 2. I reckon they could smack us in the face with that and go, surprise, might be totally wrong. But I reckon like that would be an amazing sort of...
Yeah, no, that would be cool. Especially to say there's only 2 missing. And I think was the only thing, at least again it was all speculation, but I remember in Josh's video, I think the only thing that he speculated that might hold them off isn't it there's like a bajillion characters in the chase or something, or like a lot of costume changes, or it was something, you know, of that ilk that he speculated, like, oh, maybe for the present time it's a bit too tricky.
I think Hartnell's era in general was very adventurous.
Yeah.
I just think when it comes to a classic season box set that could really blow it out of the water for BBC in terms of selling out and limited edition, all that sort of thing, having exclusive animations to a collection box set would be a big move for them, and I feel like that's something they go for, because they wouldn't have to do all 4. I know the modern companies do that, but they could just say, animate 2 and 4, and we're going to put it on the collection box set. The Crusade will not get its own DVD release, or at least for the foreseeable future. And just go, season 2, complete collection. Here's the whole box set, and there's 2 animated episodes in there which you haven't seen before, and the officially released episodes 1 and 3 of The Crusade as well, which obviously haven't had a DVD release or anything. So I kind of like that idea, and I think knowing sort of the BBC's patterns with this sort of stuff, it would be a kind of big surprise, shock, twist thing that they could do, and just go like, you're expecting a Tom Baker season again? Nope, have Hart and all that. I mean, it'll be quite fun, and I just... I can expect that, but
I'm just getting shivers at the potential eBay prices of something like that.
Oh, absolutely!
I can already see it. I can already visualize it. So, no, my mantra now with the collection sets is, because I started getting them like on release from I think season 10 onwards, and like anytime they, you know, got announced, whatever, I'd be straight on Amazon, you know, pre-order straight away. Like, because I know if I didn't do it, that was it, like gone and no chance. But no, season 2 would be... I'm surprised, you know, so far in terms of animations, they haven't gone back and quickly done the Underwater Menace, because of course when that came out, we just had a really quite poor, like, you know, telesnap reconstruction. And I remember at the time there was a lot of confusion, because I think when that came out, that was like 4 years after they actually, you know, found the episode. They revealed that they found it. So I think after 4 years, people were like, oh, well, they're clearly, you know, they're animating them. Clearly. I think this was before... you know, they were animating whole stories, even if episodes were still surviving. And then when it came out, we were just sort of like, oh, it's just telesnaps. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit like, I'm surprised they haven't gone back quickly and just put something together.
I don't know, it's really difficult to kind of... I think the modern animation teams are only doing complete stories. They're not doing like only the missing ones, which is a good thing, but also a bad thing at the same time. I like the idea that you could watch a whole story consistently in colour and like... really nice aspect ratio, whatever. But at the same time, part of me really kind of liked having, you know, like the 10th Planet, where you can actually watch the 3 episodes. You can actually watch the episodes anyway, which I quite like that that's an option. You still get the episodes. But I think just generally, there's something, I don't know. I'm 50-50 on the whole thing. I reckon if the rumours recently are to be believed, which I think they're very likely, Evil of the Daleks and Abominable Snowmen would be the 2021 releases.
Yeah.
And then 2022... I reckon one of them will be either the Highlanders or the Underwater Menace, and the other will be, I'm going to say Wheel in Space as my guess. But I don't know. I think Space Pirates might be kept off again just for a little bit, because the reason I say it is because it seems that they're wanting to go for consistent animation styles. The guys who are doing Fury from the Deep, the Big Finish animation team, they have a very different style. If you look at the cover for Fury from the Deep, it looks kind of different.
Completely. Yeah.
So if they do the Abominable Snowmen and then Wheel in Space, it would all look consistent for season 5. So when you release a box set, it all looks consistent and the same. The animation doesn't flick. I mean, it kind of does a little bit when you get to like the Ice Warriors, for example.
Yeah.
But that's fine. And then season 4, the same animation team, Underwater Menace, and then the Highlanders. And then you've got that. And then basically I reckon they'll leave season 4 until they've done something with the Web of Fear. Either Phil Morris pulls his finger out or someone animates something, and then Space Pirates. And then they can do Hartnell, I reckon.
Yeah.
I reckon they'll just jump right into Hartnell.
This is like the whole BBC master plan, isn't it? This is talk about the Cartmel or the Daleks master plan. The BBC have got a plan. They've definitely got a plan. No, I just hope we find some more missing episodes, because isn't it? I think it's well known now that there are missing episodes that do exist that private collectors are holding on to for whatever reason.
They've been, yeah. I mean, the BBC will probably tempt them and go like, hey, you know, all that sort of thing. I personally, I'll be honest, I don't understand why people hold on to these things.
Yeah,
I think as long as you come up with some good stuff, like a little bit of payment, but realistically, have it take scans of it, put my name on the DVD credits, and then I'll have it back, and I get to keep the original. That's still priceless what you've got, and the BBC's up, but you get to share it with everyone, and you get your name out there as someone who's like the special thanks or something on a like 60s episode of Doctor Who. That's incredible. I would, if I had my hands on a classic missing story, that's exactly what I'd do. I'd happily give it to the BBC as long as they can scan it and I get the original back and get a little bit of credit here and there. Give yourself something. But like, people just keep a hold of it, going, no, if only I can have it.
So George secretly has the whole 12-part Daleks master plan under his bed.
All of them. Yeah. I'm using it to prop up the bed. It's a bit wonky.
The good film cans for that.
I can't move it because I'll just have a wobbly bed. You see, so I need to keep it down there. Nothing I can do, unfortunately.
No, that's valid. For that reason, completely understand. Absolutely. But from classic Who to modern Who. I've been asking those of my guests who are into Doctor Who, I've been asking them about this because obviously at the time of this recording, the most recently transmitted series was Series 12 of the... Oh, he's already laughing.
Yeah.
Series 12 of the revival. And I'd just be curious to know, like, your thoughts on it. And, before, again, for anyone listening, as I've done in episodes in the past, like, again, you can say however you feel about it. I don't mind. I'll hear you out. And do you know what I mean? All easy for debate here. It's fine. So... yeah, Series 12, what are you thinking?
It's not bad.
Yes.
It's the thing about it, right? It's not perfect, but Christ, at least it has some balls to do something. The sheer amount of people who just get there's a lot of, obviously, fully aware, there's a lot of people in this community who are strongly against it. May I remind the lot of people watching, the Not My Doctor trend was created before Jodie even had a single episode. It's birthed basically on the fact that she's a woman, and yes, it has had things since, and people can pick and choose, but Doctor Who's always had politics. If you look at the series for its merits and its failures and all that sort of thing, it isn't bad. It has a few flaws. Like, sure, the companions aren't great and developed. I can't stand Ryan Sinclair, but like... God, at least the time I prefer the Timeless Children like twist to like them saving Gallifrey and Day of the Doctor. There's like, it's not the worst thing in the show's history, and to be honest with you, I quite like the idea of it. Like, I've always had a strange fascination with the Doctor's past and Gallifreyan history, something we never get to see much of in the show. And there's more shows nowadays like Westworld come out and all that sort of thing that explore these whole like hidden twists and stuff about people's backstories. And I just sort of always kind of craved something like that for the Doctor. So to finally have something which is like, there's a whole new era of Gallifrey here with this whole like secret service thing that the Doctor worked for before they were William Hartnell's Doctor. It's like, this is so much new stuff that you can do so much with. And 57 years into a show, I'm happy that they're just finding something that made me go, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, completely. I mean, let's face it, when they revealed that twist, the Big Finish team were rubbing their hands together like, yes,
they are loving it. They were loving it, yeah.
They've already got story ideas drafted to like 2028 or something.
Nicholas Briggs
that.
Signing on for another 40 years. He's down.
He's there. No, I, in that sense, I agree with you. Like, yes, this series took risks, and like that whole... I'm with you in the sense that the Timeless Children twist interested me in like what it opens up, basically. Although, in my opinion, I thought it would have been even more interesting if the Timeless Child was revealed to be the Master, not the Doctor.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. I kind of somewhat agree with that in a way. Like, I think that would have been interesting. But at the same time, I think, you know what? Like, it's a cool concept, and like, I'm happy to see where it goes. This is the thing, right? Every twist and reveal, people judge this so much. People always talk about this, like you see loads of Doctor Who live streams and, you know, like a podcast like this and all that sort of thing. Lots of people talk about, oh, so what do you think about the Timeless Children twist? It's like, yeah, but like, that's like asking, what do you think of River Song as a character, like in a story at the end of Series 5? Yeah. You don't know anything about her yet. Like, you don't know where it's going to go. You need to judge a twist in retrospect. You can't judge it in... I mean, like a silly twist. You know, like the Captain Jack appearing was great. That's a twist you can judge in the moment. But even still, people go, oh, was he underused? Was it needed? Well, he hasn't come back yet. So why don't we wait till he comes back? And then let's judge it. With saving Gallifrey, Day of the Doctor, they save Gallifrey. It's like, oh, that's interesting. But I can't really judge that until I see what Moffat's got planned. And what he had planned was hell-bent. So now I go, that was shit.
See, see personally, I love Hellbent myself. So
no, like, it's Hellbent isn't bad. Like the first half, it's like quite decent. I enjoy it. It's the thing about it is like Moffat did this whole saving Gallifrey thing because he couldn't think of any other ideas for the 50th. That's the way I perceive it. It's because he did this thing and went, "Oh right, what do we do now?" And his only idea was like, "Oh, we'll go back to Gallifrey," and then he'll leave it again. And it's like there was no real reason to bring back Gallifrey. There was no actual story to be told. Showrunning, I feel like the best kind of showrunners pick out something that they only make the story decisions, like the big story decisions, if they know and they've got this story that they really passionately want to tell and they can't wait to write down. Moffat didn't really have that with Saving Gallifrey. It was just a sort of way to get all the Doctors back in for the 50th, which was cool at the time, but that was 7 years ago. Come on, let's be fair. With the Timeless Children, it's a big twist. Yes, it could mean drastic things, but like we don't know what Series 13 is going to do yet. It might go nowhere, and I might look back at it and go, that was crap. But it might go somewhere, and I might go, this is one of the best things that's ever happened in Doctor Who's history, because it did this, it did this, it did this, it led to this. You can't see what something leads to before it. I mean, it's not even had an extra episode yet to like distill it. They might do more in Revolution. We don't even know yet. I doubt it, but we don't know yet.
I think that's where it's unfortunate that the twist was sort of revealed at the end of a season when we knew there was going to be a big substantial gap of time before anything else on TV.
Keeps you hooked though. I like that.
Well, no, of course. It's the advantages and disadvantages, isn't it? Like, it keeps you hooked, it keeps you interested. But for those maybe who reacted negatively, it's a reason to go, oh well, the show's ruined. Everything's ruined. But
I think it's just it's such an exaggeration, and people get really upset about these things. But I see people all the time, like, and this is the example I use with a song. It's like people see something, the official Doctor Who account will post something with Ruth, the Ruth Doctor being there. And people will go, tell us where she comes in the timeline. What's going on? Tell us. It's like, first of all, you have no idea how marketing works, because there's one person who, poor bugger, is running these Twitter accounts and putting the social media posts. They, first of all, won't respond. Second of all, they won't know, because Chibnall doesn't sit running the account. And third of all, like, it's mental. Of course it's not being explained yet. That's ridiculous. That's begging for something that you don't need. It ruins the whole concept of actual storytelling 101. Again, it's like at the end of Series 5, you go on Twitter and they post something like a quote from River Song and they go, "Oh my God, that was terrible. Tell us who she is. Makes no sense." I'm like, well, she's teasing. Because let's be honest, it's not the last time we've seen the Ruth Doctor. Fans love her too much, and Chibnall's still writing the series. Well, he's probably written it by now, but like, he knows, he had time, and he says he doesn't read reviews. But like, you cannot tell me he's totally unaware of everything. And one overwhelming thing from the sort of more positive side of the Doctor Who community is that Ruth Doctor is amazing. Bring Jo Martyn back as the Doctor. She's brilliant.
Absolutely. I mean, I just think like with the Jo Martyn thing, I was like, you're right. I love her. I love her casting. I love her Doctor, even though she's only been on screen for like 20 minutes, half an hour. Like, I love it. And I am curious, like you say, you do get those questions of like, who is she? Where does she fit in the timeline? But the whole analysis, that's what I mean. Yeah, you're right. That's the fun of it. Like all these videos you see like on YouTube of people saying, right, let's talk about who she could be. Is it the 6B theory between Doctors 2 and 3? Is it something else? I love all that speculation. And like for me at the minute, I'm waiting for that question to be answered, because the whole thing about, there being pre-Hartnell incarnations, which I don't know if you've seen on Twitter, that's become like a meme in the community, like, insert thing here as a pre-Hartnell Doctor.
I'm still waiting to be a pre-Hartnell Doctor myself, but I'll just keep sitting there patiently every day.
Give it time, man. Give it time. But just with that whole notion, I mean, Hartnell is still the first Doctor, because what I took away from it was, he is the first he's not the first incarnation, but he's the first incarnation that took the title of the Doctor. So technically, he is the first Doctor. That's how I viewed it.
Yeah, part of me agrees with that, but then I also see that Jo Martyn probably isn't going to be playing a post-Hartnell Doctor, and did call herself the Doctor. So I kind of have to be like, William Hartnell is the first Doctor. He's the first Doctor that we knew, that we saw, that all that sort of thing. But the way you look at it is, he's the first Doctor. Ruth Doctor, calling herself the Doctor even still, is the fugitive. That's like the Timeless Child, the fugitive, the foundling incarnation cycle. Before they got mind wiped, turned into a child, and turned into Hartnell. They're the foundling, and then they're the Doctor. That's how I see it. Is that like, I don't understand why people hate the twist so much. I like it. Yes, it didn't change Jodie too much, and that's the one criticism I do understand about it. People saying like it ruins Hartnell's legacy and this, that, and the other. I think it's totally pointless. I really do. I just think, what is the actual point in complaining about this sort of stuff? Like, yes, you can not like something. I'm not saying you can't not like something, but it just it's a lot to motivate yourself every single day to go in. Hi, you don't know me, but I hate the Timeless Children. Who cares? Like, really? Every day? Really? Like, come on. Yeah. I'm a Doctor Who YouTuber and I don't talk about it. I don't even think about it every day. I've got more important things. I've got bigger fish to fry than the Timeless Children. Like, it was March. It was like 6 months ago-ish now. And it's like, why do people still get competitive over this? Why are people still arguing every single day?
Yeah. It is crazy. It really is. And like you say, the whole not my Doctor thing, like, I mean, I wish we could just get the whole, like, Jodie is a woman. That is okay. She is playing the Doctor. That is also okay. Like, what you can, as an actor myself, you can critique performance. Of course you can. It doesn't matter whether you're...
No one's saying you can't critique Jodie's performance, but it's not about that. It's this constant obsession with political agendas. That aren't even being forced.
No, of course. I mean, more not so the political stuff. Like in series 12, you had the episodes, like Orphan 55 and Praxeus that had like very clear messages, shall we say. I personally felt those messages, like, whilst important, and I'm glad they were included, I felt they, in my opinion, sort of slammed us a bit too much around the head with it, rather than doing...
I'd agree, but I would go as far to say Doctor Who's always been like that.
Okay. I
think yes, Doctor Who isn't. I mean, people might shoot me for this, but even Hartnell's era, right? It's not perfect. There are a few duds, and there are a few things. I mean, Doctor Who's always been a very progressive and, I guess, kind of liberal show. Not like directly, but it's influenced by that. I mean, for Christ's sake, well, Not My Doctor people find out that the show was started by a Canadian, a gay Indian man, and a woman. They'll be furious.
Freak out, yeah. No, it's I think what I meant more was, like, I agree with you. Like, there has always been political points throughout Doctor Who history, and there's always been moments in every era that aren't perfect. Like, even like my favorite Doctor in era personally is Peter Capaldi. God love him, love that man. But yeah, there are still points where I'd be like, well, this isn't perfect, that isn't perfect. There is no such thing, I think, as a perfect era of Doctor Who. It just doesn't, perfection doesn't exist. Yeah, it's all subjective. What I meant was, like, with the messaging, in my view, is like, you take a story like The Green Death from Pertwee's time, which, yes, is all about, how we're affecting the environment, but, like, dumping of, like, toxic waste and what that can do to our environment and stuff like that. And yeah, there are moments within those 6 episodes where they really, in a way, put it in your face. You've got like fossil fuel protesters. You've got comments about it. You know what I mean? It's not like subtle to the point where it's not talked about. I don't know. For me, it was like, in an episode like that, like, yes, it's talked about, but I felt it was woven in a way that made me think about it without the characters almost feeling like they're looking down the lens saying, do you know what I mean? Whereas, for me at least, with Orphan 55, and I think, regular listeners might, I think I mentioned this in another show, but at the start of Jodie's speech, at the very end of Orphan 55, when she says, you want me to tell you it'll all be, the Earth will all be okay, but I can't do that. When she said that, I was like, cool, like, that's really, like, dark, that's really atmospheric, I like that writing, I'm here for it, because I think it's good that, to all audiences, including, kids, like, it's good that the Doctor is saying, I can't always make it sunshine and rainbows, like, I like that, but then the rest of it, whilst, again, a well-written speech, I just thought was more of like we summarised it as like an 80s PSA, about climate change bad. Just in my opinion, as a viewer taking away from...
I agree with you. I mean, Orphan 55 is a bad episode. I don't like it. Like, I'm not saying that it's perfect. I think... your comparison is totally fair with the Green Death. The difference I'd make is that I think the Green Death and Arachnids in the UK had very similar messages.
Yes.
The difference between it is one is 50 minutes long and the other is 6 25-minute episodes long. You've got more time where you can have similar amounts of messages in there that feel more spread out because you're not trying to cram it into an hour. With the big comparison I'd make is the difference again. Like series 1, I think is a really progressive series. I mean, there's. I'm surprised. I think if series 1 came out now, if let's just say series 1 didn't exist and it started with series 2, and series 1 was made now with like Jodie's Doctor and like a new companion, right? People would go mental. People would hate it. Honestly, they would hate it. You've got. The second episode has a big focus on like capitalism and the rich and the poor. You've end of the world there, and you've got the Slovene two-parter. I mean, politicians are big green aliens inside skin suits. 9/11 metaphors of the thing hitting Big Ben, and you've got Boomtown, which is about like capital punishment. The whole episode focuses on that. I don't know what else. You've got stuff like Father's Day and all. I mean, there's little things here and there and that, and Captain Jack Harkness, for Christ's sake. I mean, again, like,
it's so strange, isn't it? And I think so. Obviously, social media has been a big factor as to why I think more people are now, like with these themes coming out and saying, don't like this, don't like that. Because I think, to some extent, those people, I think, have always been there. It's just, I think, before social media really took off, aside from, I guess, like, your close mates or whatever, they might, you wouldn't necessarily hear them all the time. Because let's face it, when we were growing up, when we were kids, like when I first started watching Doctor Who with Series 1 back in 2005, the only people I'd be talking about it with were my mates in the school playground. Do you know what I mean? And like, we all loved it. We all watched it. I mean, someone might say, oh yeah, I've tried watching it and I'm not into it. But I mean, especially as a kid, the conversation really doesn't go much deeper than that.
Yeah, but that's what I mean, though. That's because I think we're older, we see a different side of it. Whereas I can absolutely guarantee there are kids on the playground now who watch Jodie's era and think it's perfection.
Oh, yeah, and I think that's great. Like, I've seen, those interviews they do for like Children in Need or whatever, where where they're talking to someone, why do you love Jodie's Doctor, and then she appears, that sort of stuff. But I think with kids, I think it's very obvious with children when what they're saying is genuine, and when you can tell they've been given like a script to say. And in all those interviews, because you know what people are like, oh, they've been told to say this, blah, blah, blah. In all those ones with Jodie in particular, I think like those kids come across as 100% genuine. You see their excitement, their enthusiasm. Oh, I'm talking about Doctor Who, and it's you can't force a child to say something without it coming across as forced, quite frankly. So
yeah, I mean, like Chris, I met Jodie in person, and I was like, whoa. I was blown away, and I was like, what, 17 at the time, 18? I was like, it was exciting,
How did you meet her? Like,
I got, because of YouTube, I believe, I was very luckily invited to see The Woman Who Fell to Earth premiere in Sheffield, which was amazing, and a very, very lucky experience, which I've talked about on the channel way back when, but obviously at the time didn't have as many subscribers as I did now, so it's probably not. It's sort of hidden away. But it was a great experience. Really, really nice. I very briefly met Jodie there. Can't get too much for perspective because she was very busy a lot of the night with press and
of course,
and all that sort of thing, and stress as well. Your first episode of Doctor Who. This famous character, and people outside of the BBC are seeing it for the first time. It's going to be a lot of stress and a lot of pressure. I did speak to Chris Chibnall there. And he was really, really nice. Yeah, genuinely, which is why part of the reason why I sort of find a sort of inner need to defend the guy, because he is so nice in person, like incredibly lovely, really, really nice person, that I just like, I feel bad for him. Like, even though I don't love his writing, I certainly don't think he's like amazing at what he does. But like, I feel bad for the guy because he's just a nice guy who cares about the show and just wants to get his style across, and he wants to leave his print on the show's history. And I love him for that. That's great.
Yeah. I think it's very easy for some people to forget, like especially those who like go after him, even if they're saying it's criticism. Like sometimes you'll see something and you say, hey, that's not like nice in general. It's not a criticism. It's just not nice to say about anyone. And they go, oh well, Chibnall's not on Twitter. He doesn't read. He's not going to see this. I'm like, you can't 100% know that. You can't know that. Like, there is no way you... Like, maybe the great chance is you won't.
What if he has a Twitter? Just because he hasn't got an official Twitter, well, you might have the app downloaded, you might have a secret account that he looks at things on. Like, personal insults are never needed.
No, absolutely not. And, like, the thing I don't get is, and I've mentioned it a couple times to those who regularly listen, but these people who are like, Jodie and Chris are intentionally destroying Doctor Who. Okay, well, one, like, they've both been hired by the BBC. They are paying them their salary. Why on earth would they go out of their way to destroy what is keeping them paid? Like, that's my first question. And two, like, I don't know, just as for Jodie as an actor and Chris mainly as a fan of the show, of course, when he was young, why would that be his intent? He wouldn't have sat down day one and be like, guys, I'm going to destroy Doctor Who. Like, he could have been like, I'm going to flip it on its head. I'm going to do something no one's ever done before. I think that's not the same as he didn't sit down and was like, here's my 5-year plan of how I'm going to get Doctor Who cancelled. I just think it's ridiculous. Like, why? No showrunner of any show in history thinks like that. No way.
Of course not. I think Chibnall's era in general is incredibly underrated. I feel like, yes, it's not perfect, but I feel a sort of need to sort of defend it because it's like it's not that much worse than other Doctor Who, you know? It's not like appallingly bad that it doesn't deserve the reaction it gets. I've always said that Series 11, despite its many flaws, is a perfect introduction to someone for Doctor Who. It's brilliant. I mean, the fact that you get an entire episode with the Doctor and the companions and the sonic screwdriver. You don't even see the TARDIS till episode 2. They have the second episode, that's about, you get to know the TARDIS, you get to know what it's about and all that sort of thing. And you get the time travel aspect for episode 3. You don't meet a famous Doctor Who monster until the special, where you meet a Dalek for the first time. It stretches everything out. I like that. It's not confusing. My mum, my grandparents, like, have grown up with me loving Doctor Who. Series 11 was the first one they properly watched every episode of, and they enjoyed it because it's easy to understand for new viewers. I feel like Stephen Moffat tried to do this with Series 10, you know, the pilot and everything.
Yes,
The thing with Series 10 is you do alienate audiences when you have 2 masters, 3 generations of Cybermen, Ice Warriors.
What are you talking about? It's a perfect introduction.
But it's loads of stuff. It's just it's too confusing. And then But then I'd say the same thing about Series 12. I think it went too far. But then people who criticise, Chibnall never listens to reviews and fans, it's like, he clearly bloody does. Because you all complained about having no classic monsters. You all complained about Yaz having no story. And what do? They gave Yaz a bit of a story. They gave you Cybermen. They give you Jadoon. They give you the Master.
Yeah.
They give you bloody Gallifrey. Like, come on.
Yeah.
I don't know how much was planned beforehand, but like it seems like he's looking at fans' reactions and going, right, I'll do that next series. He's trying to refine it. So I feel like Chibnall's last season might be his best.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like, I think sometimes we forget, unless I suppose you were there, like, back in the 60s, like, I try and put myself in the mindset of, think about, like, you know, when Troughton took over, and when, like, all the, you know, production team changed, and, like, you know, gone was, say, the historical stories, and it was more of, like, the sciencey base under siege stuff. Like, if you've been growing up with Hartnell for 3 years, you know, with, like, as you said, like, ambitious, like, historical romps and, you know, all that sort of, if that was what you're used to, I'm sure back in the 60s that sort of tonal switch was like, hey, hang about, you know, like, what's this? Because it's different, and, you know, naturally humans, we, to some extent, I think, resist change. Like, sometimes during Series 11 and 12, I could feel that part of my brain being like, you know, this isn't what it was. This is different. But then I have to tell myself, but that is Doctor Who. Doctor Who has always been about changing, doing something different. And
I've always been supportive of that. And the thing is, through, you know, if I've sat through Series 7, 8, and 9 of Doctor Who, I think I can sit through anything. So I'm happy to, you know, like, I can take Series 11 and 12. And I can probably take Series 13. Like, I'm gonna stick with this show. If I stuck through it in the series that I didn't really enjoy too much, I'm certainly gonna stick with it now that I enjoy it a little bit more. And that's not, again, people are allowed their own opinions. Like, people seem to get very upset about people just not agreeing with them nowadays and stuff. Like, I enjoy Series 11 and 12. You know, maybe not as much as some people do, but certainly not as little as others do, you know. I'm sort of in between with Series 11, more so with Series 12. You know, it's been years since Doctor Who has given me a moment where it's genuinely excited the hell out of me. I mean, because series, you know, Moffat's production team weren't great at keeping secrets. I think that's very well documented. I think, you know, for all his faults, again, Chris Chibnall can hide a secret. I knew about little things during the series going into it that I just didn't talk about, because I was like, well, I'm going to try and keep it. No clue about the Master. Absolutely not. That took me so off guard because I thought, yeah, I know what this series is going to be going in. I'd heard rumours about Sacha Dhawan playing the Master, and I thought, no, I think I did a bit of research, and it was like, oh no, he's playing an MI6 agent. Technically, he was.
He was.
I love it. I remember like my reaction was like, oh my god, they're doing it. They're actually going to do it. The house, and it was exciting. And episode 5 was it? Fugitive to Jim?
Yeah.
God.
That was fine.
I mean, that again I sort of had a few inklings about Jack, but we sat and we watched it as a group, and it was just incredible. And like Doctor Who has never done that in years for me, and it was just amazing to have that back. And the Ruth Doctor reveal, I have to be honest, my first reaction was, oh no, this is no, because you know what? Because there was that rumor.
Yeah,
there was that rumor before Series 12, and it was like, oh, Series 12 is going to reveal that the Doctor had a previous incarnation, like regeneration cycle, that were all women. So that I don't agree with. I think that's too forced. Obviously, that's not the case. But when that happened, I thought, oh, they're doing it. They're doing that. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
I can't. And I think I was a bit disappointed because I saw because she was called Ruth and she had like an R necklace. I was so convinced she was going to be the Rani. I was so convinced. I was like, I've got this. I've got it in the bag. She's the Rani. Come on. She's the Rani. No. What?
We're all banking on that. I remember when we first saw Missy in Deep Breath, and everyone was like, "It's the Rani. It's got to be Michelle Gomez is the Rani. Like it has to be." And like obviously, I thought she was great as Missy, female master, whatever. But there's this weird thing in there amongst the fandom. Like we forget the Rani's only appeared in like 2 TV stories, yet everyone's like, "Bring back the Rani." Like. Next she'll be, I don't know, it'll be like Bring Back Syl or From Vengeance on Vara, which to be fair, I mean, I wouldn't say no to Syl, quite frankly, like, or any classic monster,
in what
really.
scenario?
Oh, God, well, something, I mean, again, but like you say, Vengeance on Varos, you could argue, is very lined with like politics and ethics and morality, so probably another like morality tale. I just hope they'd update it to be, just something where Syl's out for a bit of cash.
I'd take loads of classic monsters. I think that'd be a great idea. I love the rumour that was it the Vord, I think, we're going to be in Series 12?
Oh, when I saw that, I was like, if they bring back the Vord...
That'd be incredible. I'd love that. Yeah. I thought, it links into the whole Cyberman thing. I thought that would have been kind of cool if they'd done that,
But
no.
I mean, you never know. I mean, we're forgetting, Gridlock, they brought back the Macra. No one saw that coming in a million years. Like, oh, there's Macra now. Like, I wonder, like, well, off the top of your head, aside from, like, the Vord, is there, like, a classic monster that maybe got, like, a 1-time or 2-time appearance that you'd be like, yeah, I'd have that back? Again,
I'm very behind on Classic Who. I need to catch up with it. I've not seen too much of it, but, and even the ones I have seen, I usually tend to stick to what's familiar, so Daleks, Cybermen,
some of the best stories, to be fair.
Yeah. I would be really, because I saw Ark in Space recently, I'd be really interested in seeing the Wirren back. Just with a new CGI budget, like that could be really well done and just give the monsters a little bit more credit for being like actually good. I mean, again, like the Ford would be quite an interesting one. I'd love to see the Yeti.
That'd be great. The Yeti. Yeah. I'd love to see another because I think in the early series, like I think it happened once or twice in Hartnell's time, and certainly in Troughton's, like to have the Doctor have an evil doppelganger, like Salamander in The Enemy of the World, and I don't know what it is, like because obviously when that story came back, I think it had a reputation around it before then, because I think it was only episode 3 that survived, which quite frankly, watching the whole thing, it is the dullest episode, if you want to call it that, of the story. So I think beforehand, I talked to people, the Enemy of the World, don't bother with that one, because I think the audio didn't do it justice to the visuals. So they were like, no, don't bother it, you can pass on it. But then seeing it, I really love that idea that there's just someone out there who happens to look exactly like do you know what I mean? I just think it's so novel, and just imagining Jodie coming up against someone who looks exactly like her, I think would be...
I think it should be accepted at Doctor Who at this point. I mean, Capaldi, Christ, I mean...
Oh. I mean, they gave him a whole subplot, like, why did I choose this face? Remember that guy in Pompeii? Oh, yeah, that's why I picked this face.
Exactly, and you had Colin Baker, who played that Gallifreyan, soldier, and then you had, also, again, Peter Capaldi as well, who played the politician guy in Torchwood.
Yeah.
There's loads of people. But yeah.
There's people who, before Jodie, there was, like, Olivia Colman should do it, which, I mean, yeah, fair play. I should give a good crack of the whip. But there was some people still being like, oh, but she appeared in the 11th hour as a guest role, so she can't do it. I'm like, please Google actors who appeared in Doctor Who.
I would find it quite funny though to see that, like, Olivia Colman's Doctor's like first series arc be like, oh, how did I choose this face? Like, oh, there's that woman in a coma.
Yeah, that's why. Hey, my 11th life, and there was this woman. Yeah, that's the face I'll go for. No, I like the way, to be honest, with Capaldi, how they wove. That's not the right word. How they weaved it in. Because, of course, they sort of teased it in the first episode, how he looks in the mirror, he's like, oh, I know this face, or where have I found it? And I don't know, just the way they sort of explained it. Because, I mean, is it controversial to say Series 8 is my favourite series of the revival era?
Jesus.
Is
it actually?
Yeah.
That's insane.
My reasoning, and again, like, regular listeners will know why, but I feel it's important to say, like, at the end of Matt Smith's time, like, don't get me wrong, I love all the 50th anniversary stuff, the whole celebrations, everything that was going on. But I felt towards the end of that era, for me, just personally, maybe it was where I was at, I was 18, full of teenage angst as you do and all that sort of stuff. I felt it was getting a little bit too whimsical, just for me personally. I was a bit like, we're getting a bit too fairy tale per se. And with Capaldi, who came in, obviously completely different to Matt Smith, and the whole series was a lot edgier and rough around the edges, and Capaldi took no shit basically from anyone. I know a lot of people, said it was too much, and it was, that's not the Doctor. But in my head, I was like, well, at that point, he's a 2,000-year-old guy who's like, if people are like treating him the same, like mistreating him, shall we say, like how he loses faith in humans and stuff, like, I'd be pissed off a lot more of the time. I wouldn't take any shit. And I don't know, I think because, again, like you were saying with the Chibnall thing, taking risks, because they made him so, different to some people, unlikable. I really loved it for that, because it was a really unique Doctor. I like the moment in Into the Dalek, when he's like to that guy who's being eyed up by the probes, and he's like, oh, he was dead anyway. Like, yeah, that's really left field. We were all like, oh, like, you'd never expect the Doctor to say that. But then, I don't know, just the way he played it and the way it was written, I was like, I get it. Like, this guy's 2,000 years old, and he's confronted with more, like, in his mind, stupid humans. Of course, like, not all of them are going to survive along the way. And yeah, I think I just appreciated the darkness in that. Not saying I'm a dark guy overall. Like, I'm not like, oh, everything must be dark and gritty. You can have fairy tale. You can have whimsy. Of course you can. I feel Jodie has that, and I love it. But I just feel at that time, for Doctor Who, like, the writing, Capaldi's portrayal, for me, it all just blended perfectly. Do you know what I mean? And I was like, I've got a great Doctor here with some really cracking story, and even the ones people don't like as much, like In the Forest of the Night. Yeah, it's probably the weakest episode of the season, but there's still loads of like mini moments that I love, and it's mainly down to him as an actor. I mean, I always think he's the best in terms of acting. He's the best actor who's taken the role, in my opinion. But yeah, no, I mean, it's my favorite season, but I just love the Capaldi era. So yeah,
that's fair enough. I think I went a bit lukewarm with the Capaldi era, but that's it's fine. I enjoy it, and I'm sure like, it is in need of a rewatch for me, admittedly. I will probably, when I finish my Star Wars marathon, probably going to do a New Who rewatch, because I think it's about time. It's been a while, it's a bit rusty, so I might go back, because there's a few episodes that just sort of slip through the cracks that I kind of forget about. So maybe it is time to go and jump back on that, especially Capaldi's first era, its first series. Sorry. Yeah.
I mean, there's episodes like Kill the Moon, which I know everyone is like, I know, and everyone's like, oh, it's really bad. The whole the moon is an egg, I was a bit like, I don't know about that. But the whole, people say, oh, the Doctor shouldn't have left, Clara, it was a dickish move or whatever. Watching it at the time, and even now, I'm like, but what, why can't the Doctor have those moments? Like, the Doctor is a rounded character. He can't be, in my mind, he or she shouldn't necessarily be, nice 100% of the time if the moment is justified. And it's almost like, that McCoy manipulatism, how he's leaving his companions trusting they'll do the right thing. Do you know what I mean? That's what it echoed for me. And I was like, again, it's different. Matt Smith, yeah, he would have never have done that. Matt Smith would have stayed on that space station, sorted it out, whatever. So I love the fact we had a Doctor who would basically just do whatever the hell he wanted. Like, if he didn't feel like helping,
I just wish he hadn't changed it for Series 9.
Yeah, well, yeah, this is it. I mean, I think Capaldi is still, I think you could give him any bit of writing and he'd just ace it. But Series 9, I think if I were, as every Doctor Who fan said, if I was showrunner, I would have still had him mellow. So by the end of his era, he's not as edgy or grumpy as he was at the start. I just think at the start of Series 9, they did that way too quick. They literally went from 10 on the grumpy dial to 1, and it jarred. I think that first episode from Last Christmas to The Magician's Apprentice, just like you say, the tonal shift, and another trying to justify it in the writing, he's he knows he's gonna die because of the confession dial or whatever it is, but it was just too jarring for me, like that tonal shift, and I wish Moffat had been a bit braver, but alas, that's a topic for another day. I know we are coming up to an hour, but there was one more thing I wanted to ask you, just because I've been really curious. The YouTube name Ace Creeper. You might have explained it in a video, but where did that come from?
It's a weird one, is the name. I mean, when I started my channel, for perspective, I must have been about 12 years old.
Okay.
I was in I was about 12, and when I was about 10 or 11, I had my first Xbox. I know exactly where this is going. When I had my Xbox name at the time was something horrible. I think it was Rural Blowfish or something. And obviously the Xbox Live community were lovely about that. So
I'm sure they were, yeah.
So I obviously wanted to change that. What did I play at the time? I also played Minecraft and I also played Assassin's Creed. So I wanted to go Assassin Creeper 90,000. That didn't happen because Xbox wouldn't let you have above 15 characters. So I ended up settling with Ace Creeper 9000. When I made a YouTube channel, I just stuck the name on that because when I started YouTube, and you can still go back, there are a few old videos there, I did do a bit of Minecraft and I did do a bit of, a lot of the time, Minecraft and then Five Nights at Freddy's and other random stuff that I just thought was entertaining, but obviously very, very clearly wasn't. I just kept the name Ace Creeper 9000, and then I watched a video from Tomska, a British YouTuber, who talked about his advice on YouTube and all that sort of thing. And one thing that I always took away from that was he said, get rid of the number. Because people forget the number and then they can't find you if you're a small channel. So I got rid of 9000 and I kept Ace Creeper. And I started growing with Doctor Who. I got to a point where I was like, oh, I don't want to change it. Because if I change it, then people might... Because the thing is, you see a channel name change, you start clicking away. I know the Who Addicts had a sort of similar thing. They changed their they changed their channel and their theme and everything, and that was a totally different thing altogether. But they lost subscribers from that, and it was like, if you just, obviously they wanted to change the name because they just were sick of Doctor Who at the time, and I get that. But I think I didn't want to change it from Ace Creeper for two big reasons. Is one, because I didn't want to lose anyone. I didn't want anyone to be confused at who they were watching and who is this person that I've subscribed to? I'm not going to watch this content. Yeah. But also, I didn't want to make it Doctor Who related. I didn't want to go no, of course, TARDIS lover, whatever, because it just doesn't really. For me, it's well, then if I get sick of Doctor Who, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I? Yeah, exactly.
I put a poll a few months ago because on my channel I sort of style the intros and outros like classic BBC TV, Rolling Globes and all.
Yeah,
and I call it.
It's great.
Yeah, I just call it AMTV because it's an ad of mine. It's simple, it works. Yeah. But I did a poll just out of curiosity, because some people in the comments just started calling the channel AMTV. So I said, should I change the name to AMTV or Adam Martyn in brackets AMTV or vice versa and stuff. And like you say, the majority was just keep it the same. I think, like you say, once people establish a link with the channel, they want that to stay regardless.
I had a bit of a thing about a year ago or so. I was like, not even a year ago. It must have been a few months ago now, actually. I just sort of went, I'm getting a bit sick of Ace Creeper. I'm kind of thinking about changing it and all that sort of thing. So I took a lot of inspiration from, again, Josh Snares. Probably my favourite Doctor Who channel, I think, bar Crispy Pro. I'm clearly a fan of the Australians. His channel, it just looks professional, it feels professional, but it's not like a username. It's just his name and it's about him. So I kind of wanted to go in that direction, but then I just thought and also there's a bit of nostalgia there. It's if I change that, then that's 7.5 years of Ace Creeper, and then a year of George Sheard. It just doesn't really. I don't know. Absolutely. It's I wouldn't really feel comfortable with that, and I did have a bit of a think about it. I did move into different projects and I did different things. Because they get to a point where you get sick of doing one thing, and I do get a bit tired of doing YouTube every now and then. My motivation bar is currently quite low in terms of content, and that's fine.
Sure.
You know, it'll go up eventually. You know, as we get closer to the Christmas special, it'll bump up again. You know, I've got some exciting things to talk about. I'll get onto that in a bit. But like, it's sort of like at the moment I'm sort of thinking, right, okay, I've got this other stuff. I've got like a website, and I've got like different projects that I can think about. I've got uni work. I've got like socializing. I'm just not really like in the YouTube frame of mind too much currently. But you know, it is nice every now and then to make a video and talk about stuff and all that sort of thing. I just think with Doctor Who, it is running dry a little bit, which is why I'm sort of jumping into Star Wars a bit more, because it's just there's not really much to talk about now.
But I admire that, again, like you say, you just sort of lead with that. And I think a lot of creators do it, which is good. They just sort of lead with whatever they want to make, you know, regardless of views or monetization or anything like that. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I appreciate that as a fellow creator that you just sort of make what you want, because I know I try and follow that as well. But I mean, sometimes I was very lucky earlier in this year where my channel had quite a boost in like some of the monetization aspects. It's gone down now because, you know, copyright claiming is a wonderful feature here on YouTube. But again, you sort of, I think, you know, by default get that little thing in your head saying, oh, well, this is what's doing well, so you've got to make more of this. And it was a real struggle at some months, you know, to sort of say to myself, no, but I want to make this, and I should make this.
Yeah,
like, yeah,
a lot of it.
No,
a lot of it does balance between what people like, and I've always sort of talked about this. Is like, I balance everything. Like everything I make is something I want to make. I'm not going to make something that's out of my comfort zone. A lot of people enjoyed this complete history of the Master and the Doctor. I enjoyed doing it. I did enjoy doing it, but it's a lot of work. And there's what I'm taking on now. There's no time for that. I am doing a video similar to that, but it's only going to be about 10 minutes ish, opposed to like a big one. And I just like it's finding a way of doing stuff. But at the same time, the Master video didn't get anywhere near as many views as the Doctor one. So I just sort of thought, yeah, maybe it's not worth the time. If a video, if like a 30-second spoof video can get more views and more attention than something I've spent weeks on, what's the point in spending weeks on it? In a way, even though it's something I want to make, even though it's something I'm incredibly proud of, even still, it's still something I look at and go, yeah, well, was it worth it? And kind of, yeah. But at the same time, it's like I should probably do easier things just in the meantime and little things here and there, and you know, play about with that. Yeah, you know, it's fun, but also it's. Yeah, I don't know.
It's a balancing act. That's YouTube in a nutshell. It's a big old balancing act. Yeah, absolutely. Well, mate, again, thank you so much for joining me today. Was there any projects or things you wanted to shout out before we close out today?
I think I mean I've got, in terms of YouTube, there's a couple of exciting things I've got planned. I've got a big event towards the end of the year, which is a big sort of charity live stream type event thing. I'm still making lots of plans with that. It's still very much a slow work in progress, but that should be a nice, exciting sort of event. So that's something to stay tuned for. And there is another type of video which I'll be making towards the end of this year, which I still can't talk about yet, but it's very, very exciting.
That's fair.
And I would like to just cool teaser. It is very exciting. Wish I could talk about it. Can't quite yet, but I'm very excited to sort of, you know, eventually make a video about that topic area. And I'm currently doing freelance as well, so I've got a website for that. So if anyone's looking for graphic designer editing work, you know, that's where I'm at these days, as well as YouTube. So other than that, thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
No, it's not a problem, man. So all of those links will be in the description. Those watching on YouTube, you'll see it on screen and stuff. Go and check out George's channel at Ace Creeper. Go and follow him on Twitter. Check out his website if you need some graphic design. And, I mean, you sound like a Doctor Who showrunner already. I'm very excited about this project, but I can't say anything about it.
Yeah, that was totally unintentional. It's just like, I
just got, like, all the Moffat flashbacks.
Oh, God.
So he's like, it's really exciting, but I can't talk about it. And then a week later, it'll be like, well, it's kind of about this, and it's like, okay.
Well, the difference between me and Moffat, I'm not going to say anything until the end of this year.
Good.
But
You're actually going to keep tight-lipped.
I am. It's something that will be quite apparent when I get to it. It's just like, got to keep quiet about it for now. Can't say anything, but when I can,
fair, man.
I will never shut up about it. So,
That's fab. Well, again, I wish you all the best success with those projects. I'd love to do like more collaborations with you in the future, whether it's more podcast stuff or, I mean, I like my alcohol as well. I'll get drunk with you. So, but yeah, no, I mean, hopefully, I thought in my head as well, like with some of the Whotubers I've talked to, and I believe some of the same Whotubers we sort of, know in the same circle, it'd be really nice, I guess easier at the time for those in the UK at the moment, when this whole pandemic's all over, it'd be really cool to do like a meetup of us all, because like, I mean, I love, don't get me wrong, I love like doing podcasts like this and interacting with everyone on Twitter, but do you ever have those moments where I'm like, I'd really just love to meet these people?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, in person,
it's
like,
these things always get difficult depending on where you live in the country and all that sort of thing.
Of course, yeah,
I think
yeah,
a great sort of thing that I look for is like, I try and make it as obvious as possible whenever I go to a convention or like a signing or like a BFI screening or something like that. I'll always make it very, very obvious that I'm going there, just so people, because like I'm always down to meet people and say hello and all that sort of thing. Getting stopped in the streets is a bit weird, but in like big convention halls and stuff, it's so exciting and great just to see people who are passionate and just like, great to meet people and all that sort of thing. I went to the Doctor Who Warp convention and that was fantastic. Just really, really just good vibes all around, really. Yeah.
Oh, fab. Well, hopefully when conventions can safely operate again, that can be it. But it would be really cool. I'm getting images now of like everyone doing a video like all together like at a convention. That'd be mad. But yeah, George, once again, man, thank you so much for coming on, and I wish you all the best with the future.
Thank you so much for having me. I've really, really enjoyed it, actually. Yeah.
Good. I'm glad, man. And to all you guys listening, thank you for listening. And until the next one, have a good week and stay safe. Massive thank you to our producer and director patrons for your support towards us here at AMTV. You just help keep us going, and that's massively appreciated. And that does bring us to the end of another evening here on AMTV. We hope you enjoyed the programme, and we hope to see you next time. Good night.